Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, we love picking sources that you suggest, and this deep dive is no exception. This one is for everybody out there who wants to get better with money because today we're going to tackle the 9 money mistakes and how to overcome them.
9 money mistakes.
9! I know. When I first saw the title, I thought, oh, this is going to be a snooze fest.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I did. But I'll tell you, this stuff is way more interesting than I expected.
It's true. I think personal finance sometimes gets a bad rap. It can be dry or intimidating.
Yeah.
But that's because it's rarely presented in a way that actually connects with people's lives and goals.
That's a great point. It's not just about the numbers in the spreadsheets.
Right.
It's about understanding the psychology behind money habits and learning to make smarter choices.
Exactly.
So let's dive into these 9 mistakes.
Okay, let's do it.
And more importantly, we're going to equip you with actionable strategies to turn them into opportunities for financial growth.
Absolutely.
I like the sound of that.
Me too.
All right. Mistake number 1 is not prioritizing financial literacy, which honestly feels a bit like blaming the victim, doesn't it? I mean, most of us weren't exactly taught this stuff in school.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not about placing blame,
Yeah.
right? It's just about recognizing that financial literacy is like a muscle.
Yeah.
And if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, our education system often fails to provide that foundational training.
So where do we even begin? The source mentions 2 books, The Richest Man in Babylon and Your Money or Your Life. Are those good starting points?
Absolutely. The Richest Man in Babylon uses parables to illustrate timeless financial principles. And Your Money or Your Life encourages a more mindful and purpose-driven approach to money. And even beyond books, there are, fantastic podcasts, YouTube channels, even free online courses.
Lots of resources.
Tons. Yeah. It's about finding, resources that resonate with you and committing to continuous learning, really.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, this next mistake, paying yourself last, is something I'm definitely guilty of. It's so easy to fall into the trap of paying bills and expenses first, and then hoping there's something left over for savings.
Oh, yeah. It's a common trap, but the problem is there's rarely much left over at the end, is there?
Yeah, no, never.
That's why the concept of paying yourself first is so powerful. It means treating your savings like a non-negotiable expense, just like your rent or utilities.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
But how do we actually put it into practice?
It's simpler than you might think. So you decide on a percentage of your income you want to save, say like 10% or even 5% to start, and set up an automatic transfer to a separate savings account each time you get paid.
Got it.
It's like automating your financial future.
Yeah, so instead of hoping there's money left over, we're making it a priority from the get-go. I can already see how this would shift my mindset.
Exactly. You're taking control of your finances rather than letting them control you. Now, this next mistake might surprise you. It's only focusing on saving, not earning.
Wait, isn't saving a good thing? The source even recommends budgeting and tracking expenses.
It absolutely is. But what if we told you there's a ceiling on how much you can save, but no limit on how much you can earn?
Okay, now you have my attention. So it's not just about cutting back, but also finding ways to increase our income.
Precisely. And it doesn't necessarily mean working longer hours. It could be as simple as negotiating a raise, exploring a side hustle, or even turning a hobby into a small business.
I like where this is going. This
Yeah.
ties back to that first point about financial literacy.
Exactly.
The more we understand about money, the more opportunities we can unlock.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about a mistake that often stems from fear, waiting too long to invest. Many people, they believe they need a lot of money to get started, or they are intimidated by the perceived risks.
Yeah, I'll admit the world of investing feels a bit like a secret club I don't have the password to.
It can seem that way, but here's the truth. You don't need a fortune to begin. In fact, starting small and early is one of the most powerful strategies, thanks to the magic of compound interest.
Okay, break that down for me.
Yeah.
What exactly is compound interest and why is it so magical?
Okay, so think of it as earning interest on your interest.
Okay.
So let's say you invest $100 and it earns 10% interest in a year.
Okay.
You now have $110.
Okay.
The next year, you're earning 10%, not just on the initial $100, but on that $110. And over time, those seemingly small gains, start to snowball, creating exponential growth.
Got it. So the earlier we start, the more time we have for that snowball to gain momentum.
Exactly, yeah.
The source mentioned index funds and ETFs as good options for beginners. What makes them so special?
So index funds and ETFs are like baskets of stocks that track a specific market index, like the S&P 500. So they offer diversification, which is spreading your risk across multiple companies. And they're generally considered lower risk than individual stocks.
That makes sense. So instead of trying to pick winners and losers, we're essentially investing in the overall growth of the market.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears to a mistake that can lead to a financial avalanche. Getting comfortable with bad debt.
Oh, I have a feeling we're all familiar with this one. Credit cards can be so tempting. Those buy now, pay later schemes are everywhere these days. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, I'll just pay it off next month.
And then next month rolls around and there's another tempting offer and suddenly you're stuck in a cycle of revolving debt. The key is to understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. Good debt, like a mortgage or student loans, can actually help you build wealth over time. Bad debt, on the other hand, is typically high-interest debt used for non-essential purchases,
Ah, okay.
like clothes, gadgets, vacations.
So that's the difference.
Yeah,
Good debt is an investment in your future, while bad debt is basically borrowing from your future self. The source had a great point. If you can't afford it in cash, don't buy it with debt.
exactly. Yeah, it's about living within your means and being mindful of the long-term consequences of those seemingly small purchases.
Now, let's dive into a mistake that's more about awareness than anything else. Not knowing your income and expenses.
This is where things start to feel a bit personal, right?
Yeah.
Admitting you don't really have a handle on where your money's going.
It's more common than you think.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people have a general idea
Oh.
of their income and expenses,
Uh,
but lack like a detailed understanding
Got
of their cash flow.
it's like that saying, what gets measured gets managed.
Yes,
If we're not tracking our spending, how can we make informed decisions about our finances?
exactly. And that's where budgeting comes in. And it's not about, deprivation or restriction. It's about gaining clarity and making conscious choices about how you spend your money.
So it's about aligning our spending with our values and goals.
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah.
There are tons of budgeting apps and methods out there.
Yeah. From the 50-30-20 rule to zero-based budgeting. The key is to find a system that works for you and commit to tracking your income and expenses.
This reminds me of something the source mentioned, lifestyle inflation. What exactly does that mean?
Lifestyle inflation happens when our spending increases
Okay,
as our income grows.
got it.
So we get a raise or a promotion
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly find ourselves upgrading our lifestyle. A nicer apartment, a newer car, more frequent dining out,
It's so subtle, isn't it?
right?
We might not even realize it's happening until we find ourselves living paycheck to paycheck despite earning more than before.
Exactly. And that's why tracking our expenses is so crucial.
Okay.
It helps us identify those areas where we might be overspending
Yeah,
and make adjustments
makes sense.
to align with our financial goals.
Okay. On to mistake number 7, not having an emergency fund. This one feels like a no-brainer, but I'm guessing it's something many people overlook.
You're right. It's one of those things we know we should do, but often put off until later. The problem is life is unpredictable. Unexpected expenses like a job loss, a medical emergency, a car repair can pop up at any time.
And if we're not prepared, those unexpected events can send us spiraling into debt.
Absolutely.
The source recommends having 6 months worth of living expenses saved up. That seems like a daunting amount.
It does seem like a lot, but it's about peace of mind. Think of it as your financial safety net,
Okay.
a buffer that allows you to navigate those unexpected challenges without derailing your long-term goals.
So how do we actually go about building that emergency fund? It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the thought of saving that much money.
Start small.
Okay.
Even setting aside $50 or $100 a month is a step in the right direction. Automate those transfers so you don't even have to think about it.
Mm.
You could also look for ways to boost your savings, like selling unused items, picking up a side hustle, or even negotiating a lower interest rate on your existing debt.
Those are great tips. Now let's talk about a mistake that many people find confusing and intimidating. Paying too much in taxes. Honestly, the tax code feels like a foreign language to me.
It can be incredibly complex. But here's the thing. You don't need to become a tax expert to make smart choices. It's about understanding the basics and leveraging the available strategies to minimize your tax liability legally.
Okay, so it's not about evading taxes, but rather optimizing our tax strategy.
Exactly.
Oh,
There are tons of legitimate deductions and credits available,
yeah.
from retirement contributions to charitable donations to educational expenses. The source even recommends working with a financial advisor or tax professional
Okay.
to explore options tailored to your specific situation.
That makes sense. It's like having a guide to navigate the complexities of the tax code and
Yeah,
ensure we're taking advantage of every opportunity to keep more of our hard-earned money.
exactly.
Now, let's talk about the final mistake. And this one ties back to something we teased earlier, a surprising connection between our passions and our finances.
Ah, yes. Mistake number 9, having expensive hobbies. We all have things we love to do, but sometimes those hobbies can come with a hefty price tag.
I'm definitely guilty of this.
Yeah.
I love to travel, but those trips can quickly drain my bank account. The source isn't suggesting we give up our hobbies, is it?
Absolutely not. Hobbies are essential
Oh,
for a
good.
well-rounded life.
Yeah,
It's about finding that balance
got it.
between enjoying our passions
Yeah.
and ensuring they don't sabotage our financial well-being.
So it's about being mindful of the costs and making conscious choices about how we spend our leisure time and money.
Exactly. It might mean exploring more budget-friendly options within our existing hobbies,
Okay.
like opting for camping instead of luxury resorts, or learning to cook gourmet meals at home instead of frequenting, expensive restaurants.
Those are great examples. I'm also reminded of something the source mentioned, the idea of turning our hobbies into assets. Perhaps we can explore ways to monetize our passions or use them to develop valuable skills.
That's a fantastic point. It could be as simple as offering, like, photography services or teaching online classes or even writing a blog about your favorite hobby.
So instead of viewing our hobbies as simply expenses, we can start thinking of them as potential income streams or even investments in our personal and professional development.
Exactly, yeah. Now we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
We have.
9 money mistakes and a whole host of strategies for overcoming them.
It's been a whirlwind of information, but I already feel like I'm starting to see my finances in a new light. What are some of the key takeaways you hope our listener will walk away with?
Well, first and foremost, I want to emphasize that financial literacy is an ongoing journey, not a destination. It's about continuously learning, adapting, and evolving our money habits as our lives change.
It's like we're building a set of financial tools that we can use to navigate any situation, from budgeting and saving to investing and tax planning.
Exactly. And remember, even small, consistent changes can have a significant impact over time. Don't get overwhelmed by the thought of making drastic overhauls overnight. Start with one area where you want to improve and focus on building momentum.
Perhaps it's committing to tracking your expenses for a month, setting up that automatic savings transfer, or picking up one of those books we mentioned earlier.
The key is to take action and keep moving forward.
I love it.
Remember, you don't have to do this alone. There are countless resources available: financial advisors, online communities, even friends and family who can offer support and guidance.
All right, before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listener with a thought-provoking question.
I love where this is going.
Of those 9 money mistakes we discussed, which one resonated with you the most? And more importantly, what is one action step you can take today to turn that mistake into an opportunity for financial growth?
We'd love to hear your insights. Share your thoughts and action plans in the comments below.
And hey, if this deep dive sparked your curiosity and you're ready to explore even more financial wisdom, we have a treasure trove of resources waiting for you.
Absolutely. We'll be sharing links to those recommended books, podcasts, and online courses in the show notes.
We're all on this financial journey together, and we're here to support you every step of the way. So as we wrap up our deep dive into 9 money mistakes and how to overcome them, I'm curious, what stood out to you the most?
That's a great question. For me, it's the interconnectedness of these mistakes.
Okay.
They're not isolated issues,
Uh-huh.
but rather symptoms of a larger mindset or approach to finances.
That's such an insightful way to look at it. It's not about beating ourselves up over past mistakes, but rather seeing them as opportunities for growth and learning.
Exactly. Each mistake we discussed offers a valuable lesson and a chance to make more informed choices, moving forward.
I think the key takeaway for me is that financial well-being isn't just about luck or circumstance. It's about taking ownership of our financial lives and developing those essential money management skills.
I couldn't agree more. It's about shifting our mindset from feeling powerless to feeling empowered. to create the financial future we desire.
And the best part is it's never too late to start, you know? Whether you're just beginning your financial journey or looking to make some course corrections along the way, there are always steps you can take to improve your situation.
Absolutely. Even small, consistent actions can compound over time,
Yeah.
leading to significant long-term gains.
That's the beauty of this journey. It's about progress, not perfection. It's about making those small, incremental changes that add up to a life of financial freedom and security.
Well said. Remember, you don't have to do this alone. There are countless resources available, financial advisors, online communities, books, podcasts, all designed to support you on your path.
And hey, we're here for you too. We love diving deep into these topics and helping you make sense of the complex world of personal finance.
So keep those questions coming.
Yes.
We're always eager to explore new ideas and help you unlock your full financial potential.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into 9 money mistakes and how to overcome them. We hope you found it insightful, empowering, and maybe even a little bit fun.
It's been a pleasure unpacking these financial insights with you.
Until next time, keep diving deeper.